Good evening, I'm Brooke Riley, here giving a special report on a meeting that the Student Government Association just had with Chairman of the Quinnipiac University Board of Trustees, William Weldon. I sat down here with a few members from the Student Government Association that were in attendance at the meeting. I'm sitting alongside Student Government Association President Austin Calvo. Austin, how do you think the meeting with Bill Weldon went today?
I thought it went very well. I was in the Board of Trustees, had a meeting earlier today, and I was in that meeting for about 6 hours earlier today, and then I had an hour free, and then I went right into that meeting. And for the meeting, Student Government Association members wrote out questions, submitted them to the executive board, and we chose the questions we thought would best fit. So we had 11 questions total, and a lot of the questions that we asked later in the day had come up earlier during the board meeting, so that kind of felt good that the board was already aware of and addressing things that SGA was concerned about and wanted to ask of Mr. Weldon later. But overall, the meeting went very, very well. He was incredibly receptive to ideas that we had. And he seems like he's very open and willing to work with SGA along with other board members and President Olian.
Now, SGA hasn't met with a person from the Board of Trustees in a while. How did you guys coordinate this?
So he just reached out to Monique Drucker, who's the VP and Dean of Students, and just asked if he could come in and talk to us. Monique's been here for 24 years, and she said that in her 24 years it has never happened. So at least in the past 24 years, we've never had someone from the board here. And he just reached out and said, I want to come and I want to talk to SGA. And the board's looking at more opportunities to engage with students at large and with SGA.
So going off what you just said then, how are you guys looking to work more with the Board of Trustees in governance of the university?
So we're looking at, one of the questions I asked today was the thought of, SGA used to have 2 members on the Board of Trustees, and I asked about the thought of adding another one or other ways that we can advocate to the board. And one of the things that Chairman Weldon said that he wanted to do was to work to establish town halls that are open to the entire university with members of the board, or coming into SGA more regularly, or having SGA members sit in on committee meetings. The Board of Trustees is broken down into several committees as well, and that's something he opened up to the possibility of us coming in and sitting in on those meetings, which would be an amazing opportunity for any number of students.
And now, how is the Board of Trustees responding to ideas that SGA presents to them based on student needs?
Incredibly well. During the board meeting, the SGA president always gives the SGA report, the report from the students, and I said a lot of things that I knew the board may not love to hear, but it's things I knew they needed to hear, and I thought they received a lot of it very well. They were like, thank you, we didn't think about that. Today, some stuff about counseling services came up, and I was very adamant about student need and what we need to see on this campus as students that are attending this university, and they were very receptive to everything that I had to say. They very much appreciate and value all student opinion. It's not like it's just, some people think that the SGA president sitting on the board is simply just the novelty just to say that they have the student input, but I believe that the board actually wants to hear it, and that's why the SGA president has had a seat on the board for so long.
Okay. And is there anything else that you think we should know about anything that happened in the meeting today, or what you guys plan to do moving forward?
I just think it's important to remember just kind of what I've already said, that the board is very receptive to our ideas and wants to hear from the students, especially the chairman, Mr. Weldon. So if students have any thoughts or have any concerns that they think should be taken up at the board level, my office door is always open in the SGA suite. So drop by, come in and talk to me. I'm more than interested to engage in conversation and to see how we can better the school.
Great, thank you for coming in, Austin.
Of course, thank you.
I'm now sitting alongside Luka Hearn. Luke is a senior class senator for the Student Government Association, so he was also in the meeting with Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Bill Weldon, a little while ago. Luke, how do you think the meeting went?
I think the meeting went really well. We discussed a lot of things regarding our university, and I think student government as a whole would feel pretty good about our Board of Trustees and the direction that this university is heading.
Now, we know earlier in the semester, court documents were released, and Johnson & Johnson was fined with being involved with the opioid epidemic out in Oklahoma. We know that Bill previously was CEO of Johnson & Johnson, and you kind of expressed some hard feelings about this. What are your thoughts?
We spoke to him about this today. Me and him discussed it privately between the two of us. I would say that we don't agree on where some of the responsibility lies. However, he is somebody who's working hard to improve the lives of many people that have been affected by opioids, and he has a lot of charitable ventures, and so yeah.
And do you think that this has any kind of impact on Quinnipiac or his relations with Quinnipiac?
I think that with his position in Johnson & Johnson, Quinnipiac can benefit from his leadership at the university to make, especially our medical students, aware of the dangers of opioids. I think that maybe we can even start a program in our med school about ethical prescriptions and practices and ethical research. I think that's the direction to move forward with this issue.
And after speaking with Weldon, do you have a different opinion on the whole situation at all?
I have a different outlook on it now. I don't think that this still is not an issue. I think it still is an issue. However, I think that there's different ways that we can address it and go forward and make change now, knowing what we have.
And going forth, is there anything that you would like to do in your position on Student Government Association to help with that?
Speaking with Mr. Weldon, we discussed a few things that the university can do, like I've mentioned earlier, having a course on ethical prescriptions and different things, especially within our med school and our School of Business. And so I think that I'm going to reach out to him again. That's something that I think that we're going to explore.
I'm now sitting with Tina Asfow. Tina is the Multicultural and Identity Senator for the Student Government Association, so she was in the meeting before as well. Tina, what are your overall thoughts on how the meeting went?
I think it went pretty well. I'm very excited to the direction that the student government is taking with the Board of Trustees.
And I know that you interned at Johnson & Johnson. How was the internship? What were your overall thoughts about it, and how did you obtain this?
Working at Johnson & Johnson was a truly amazing experience for me. I really enjoyed learning more about the corporate world and all the things that it offers. What was the second question?
How did you obtain the internship?
So I obtained it through Mr. Weldon, a personal connection I have. Mr. Weldon is a big supporter of my high school, and so there's a scholarship program that kind of is connected with that.
And did you have a connection with Weldon prior to this? How did you develop your connection throughout your time?
So we have a very big supporter of our high school. The McGaughlins are very dear friends of the Weldons, and through that we made that connection, and that's basically how we got the internship.
And what are your overall thoughts of Johnson & Johnson being fined for the opioid epidemic?
I think it's very important to consider that there are many people that played a part in the opioid crisis, starting with the doctors that are prescribing the drugs to the people who are manufacturing it. And so it's very important to consider those before casting blame on whoever it may be.
And is there anything else that you think we should be aware of how this might impact Quinnipiac or how the meeting went today?
The meeting went very well. The meeting went very well, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Tina. We appreciate it.
No problem.
That's all I have for this evening's special report. Be sure to stay up to date with all of our content on Q30TV.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Q30 News. Good night.